Presentation, what I want to talk about is how a grassroots community organisation or group takes advantage of Ahha and the platform and the services and gets the most value from it. There's a separate presentation where a business, such as a coffee shop, the hardware shop, the local garage, integrates the services into their business operations. This is how a group or organization integrates Ahha, the platform and the products and services into their operations. What we are providing organizations and groups with is a set of tools. It is a platform. It allows communities to fund themselves. This is what the differentiator is, and this is what we're offering. We're offering a set of tools for grassroots organizations to go fund themselves. How you take advantage of the tools, how you use the tools, how you get the most out of those tools is up to each individual group and organization. What we do is we give you the tools to go fund yourselves. It covers fundraising, it covers the management of payments, and it covers the tools that you need to engage your community and your supporters. Above all, it is a compliant and transparent offering. Your supporters and your contributors expect this, and now you can give it to them. Because it's integrated, because it runs end to end, because from the minute you put funds in, from the minute that they contribute to the moment they arrive, the funds arrive back at the organization's bank account, the tools are there for transparency. Because when you set up a fundraising activity, because when you set up a fundraising campaign, the regulatory rules are applied. You get transparency and you get compliancy. It's a complementary service to your existing approaches. You will still seek donations. You will still do the sausage sizzle. You will still sell the Cadbury's chocolates. You will still do the lunches and the dinners. You will still try and seek corporate sponsorships. This is an entirely complementary mechanism. It is just another way to raise funds. It is another way to engage your supporters. Now, organizations can do it themselves. The organizations can do it on behalf of other organizations. So if you're, let's say, hockey, a regional association, an umbrella organization can do this across the board for all of the different hockey clubs if that's what they want to do. And if you want us to do the fundraising for you, we can do that as well. It's about how an organization benefits. It benefits because payments of fundraising are easier, quicker, they reach a wider audience, it's compliant, it's transparent, and you get greater returns. We talked earlier on about the sausage sizzle, the barbecue, and how much time and effort and the risks that are associated with that compared to the returns. We talked earlier on about the phone banking and how as much as 90% in some instances can go to the phone banking companies. Whereas with us, for every dollar that is put in, between 80 cents and 95 cents is going back directly to the organisation, tagged specifically for the purpose for which funds were raised, plus compounding aggregated interest, plus a lower cost of raising those funds. It's about organisations having ongoing incremental revenues that go direct to them. These revenues aren't going to the top and coming back down. they're coming in directly at the grassroots to the organisation. It's $2 here, $5 here, $2 here. That adds up. It's not putting all your eggs in one basket and having one big fundraising luncheon and hope that that will sustain the organisation throughout the rest of the year. You allow your supporters to go off and raise funds. So you're increasing your supporter base. You're increasing who is raising funds with you. You can combine the physical and the virtual. We've talked about how you can do a raffle both online as combined with the real world. There's a separate presentation on how you can use fees to do spot finds at luncheons, how you can run sweeps at luncheons on which table has raised the least or which table has raised the most. It allows you to engage with the community. It allows you to build up the next generation of givers and donators. If you are lucky in that you have wealthy individuals giving one-off payments into your organisation, that's great. But as an organisation, how do you manage high volumes of low to medium value transactions? We give you the tools to do this. And we give you passive income streams. We talked about the challenge earlier on. The organisation is not out there doing challenges. Its supporters are because it's fun, but the funds are arriving back at the organisation. The aggregated compounding interest. All of these are passive income streams into the organisation. So let's look at some of the best practice things to do. For an organisation, it's best to allocate one person to be the contact and responsible for managing the activities around fundraising and using Ahha. It's good to get it approved by the organisation's board, and it's good to have it as an agenda item on board meetings. Tell your members in newsletters, the web, in Facebook, in Twitter, and those sorts of things that they can now do payments via this mechanism. They can now raise funds via this mechanism. Reinforce it through all of these different mechanisms that you use. Engage local businesses to raise funds on your behalf. Feature it in the newsletters and on the web. Talk about how to use it. Talk about who has raised the most, who has gone off and run a campaign. Go and thank them for their efforts and go out there and communicate all of this both through the platform, both through your existing mechanisms like email, Facebook, Twitter, newsletters, and those sorts of things. Use it as a preferred mechanism for payments. What we've done is as you know, we've integrated all of the different payment mechanisms. So you don't have to have 10 different payment mechanisms yourself now, with all of the costs and all of the administration done that you have to do. Now that's there for you, it's integrated. A fully itemized statement is delivered to you. Money is delivered directly to your bank account. So use it as a mechanism to receive annual dues, payments, spot fines, that sort of thing. Now, telling everybody about it. Again, include it with correspondence. Reinforce how it is benefiting members. So you've run a fundraising campaign. You now tell the members how it's benefited them, so that they will then want to contribute again. Provide awards for those that have contributed most. Do all those sorts of fun things. Show how the funds were used on the specific purpose. So people using the platform know that they've raised $100 to fund the school trip. So tell all your supporters how the trip went. Get the people on the trip to say that the trip was great, it was fun and exciting, and to thank the people that contributed to it. You then create that self-sustaining circle whereby people will want to contribute because they're seeing benefit for what they contribute. Have it as a feature in your annual reports. Again, integrate real world with online as we've talked about before, and have your sponsors use it. So if you're getting a local business to provide a prize, get them to run the fundraising campaign alongside your fundraising campaign. Again, fundraising campaigns, have businesses run the campaigns for you. Why? Because the business is benefiting by doing it. You encourage your supporters to connect to your group and your organization. You're making it easy for supporters to raise funds because they can just in 2 minutes set up a fundraising campaign. In 2 minutes they can set up a fundraising activity and hit up all of their family and friends. You're making it easier for them to raise funds for your group and your organization. So it's in your interest to go off and support them. Why not raise funds for another organization and tell your supporters that you're doing it? So, you're the local school. You run a campaign for a flooded school in a neighboring community. Why is that of benefit to the school? Because the school is seen in the community to be in a very positive light. When people come to support the school, they see that the school is proactive in helping them, but it's also helping the others. You make yourself much more endearing to them. Again, focus on community events and specific content to the community. So, for example, there is a town on the west coast of South Australia called Port Lincoln. They have a tuna tossing competition. You could be in New Zealand and have a gumboot tossing competition. That competition is important to that local community. So runs, sweepstakes and tipping competitions around the gumboot tossing or the tuna tossing. And you can combine the real with the virtual. And again, this is covered in a separate presentation. And we'll talk about it more now. It's creating an environment of fun. You can do raffles. When you do raffles, you can sell the tickets online. You can sell them at the door. Print the tickets out, combine them with those at the door, draw the prize. You can use fees for spot finds at events. So you're doing the lunch, table 53, you haven't contributed enough, here's a $5 spot fine for everybody. You can use sweepstakes to have people who are not at the event predict which table is going to raise the most funds or the least funds. And you have fun in the room and you can extend the reach outside of the room. Similarly with tipping competitions, there's no end of challenges that you can issue in the room at the time, between people, at tables, those sorts of things. Above all, thank people for their efforts, post results to social networking, email and newsletters, and let everybody know what's been happening. We want to talk very quickly about creating the accounts. You allocate a resource to create the accounts for the organisation and to be the representative of that organisation. It's good to allocate people to be groups associated with the organisation and to ensure that everything gets coordinated. So what happens is when you register as the organisation, you say, right, we've got 10 groups. Let's allocate the person, let's allocate the IDs, let's create that all at once. Integrate this with all your social networking sites. Ensure that your passions and pursuits get set up. In the registration process, it's I'm a sporting organisation and I support American football. Make sure those things get set up, and then in your interests, make sure that they're also set up there as well. And again, when somebody moves on, transfer the details so that you don't have to start again and reinvent the wheel. Now, an organisation, let's take a sporting club. You may have between 1 and let's say 100 groups associated with that organisation. So these could be all the different sports teams, the under 12s, the 12 to 14 boys, the 12 to 14 girls, the over 50s women, the over 50s men's. What you do as an organisation is to say, right, as an organisation, we have one set of needs, but all of the groups have a different set of needs. So let's get that organised, let's structure the organisation, let's structure the groups. So some example of groups. Within a charity, it could be all the different fundraising programs that are run. We've talked about sporting teams. In a school, it could be the different classrooms, the different activities. Each one of these groups has its own address book, and it encourages users to connect to the group and or the organisation. By doing this, you are then highly targeting your engagement. If you're raising funds for the under 12s sports team, those in the over 60 sports team may have no interest in it. So why waste time and effort in hitting them up? So by creating groups, having supporters connect, having your own address books, everything that you send out is highly targeted. Use everything in moderation. Again, focus on events, and as we talked about, please coordinate your activities. Because if you're the individual and you're being hit up continuously, you will lose their support. So that's a quick overview of how to use Ahha within the organization. In essence, set up the organization, set up the groups, coordinate it, and take advantage of the online combined with the physical world. Thank you.